Alright everybody, I thought I would go ahead and start. Grab your spiral notebooks off. We're going to talk about Unit 4 inequalities. We're going to do notes first, and then I'll walk you through at any time that you need to go ahead and pause. Go ahead and pause and catch up, and then go ahead and push play and keep on going, okay? So today we're going to talk about what are inequalities. Okay, and inequalities are not like an equal sign. When you have an equal sign, that means that one side is going to equal the other side. For an example, 3 plus 5 is going to be 8, and that equals 8. Inequalities, that word in means that they're not equal. So this is an example of an equation where one side equals the other side. However, when we talk about inequalities, it means that one side is not the same as the other side. So for an example, I might have 4 plus 5 is greater than 8. And then I would say that 4 plus 5 is 9 is greater than 8. And yes, 9 is greater than 8. So that's the difference between an equation. An equation says that one side equals the other side, where that an inequality says that one side may not be equal to the other side. Okay, so before we get started, I want to go ahead and go over some of the definitions and symbols so that way we're not confused and before we get started any further. So grab a ruler and go ahead and make yourself a line between the two margins. You can kind of see both margins there. And I'm going to go ahead and write the word symbol here. And next to that, I'm going to do meaning. Then I'm going to go ahead and have example. And then I'm going to go ahead and graph. And I'm going to go ahead and go through several of these examples, okay? And then we'll go ahead and practice and get really good at writing and understanding what these all mean. So I'm going to scoot this up a little tiny bit so everybody can see better. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and go down about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, about 18 lines down. And I'm going to go ahead and draw a line 18 down between all of my columns. And again, if I'm going too fast for you, you have the ability to stop and pause the video so that way you can get caught up. Okay? I hope you guys are doing a better job with using a ruler than I am. It's kind of hard when you're doing this on video. Alright, and I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to go ahead and use a blue crayon, and I'm going to go ahead and draw a symbol that looks like this. I'm going to use 2 lines. Then I'm going to go ahead and use a red crayon. I'm going to go ahead and do a symbol under that so it looks like this. Then I'm going to go ahead and use a green so that way it looks like this. And an orange in this way. And then I'm going to end off with a purple. I'm going to squish that up a little tiny bit. That looks like this. Okay? And I'm going to go ahead and put meanings and examples and graphs to all of these things. So heading back up to the top, the symbol that's in blue that looks like this says greater than. And the way to kind of remember that it's greater than is that the way the largest part of that symbol comes first. So if you're reading it, I'm going to read it this way, and the larger part is greater, it comes first, so it's greater than. An example would be x is greater than 5. And then I'm going to go ahead and graph that, and then that will make a lot more sense in just a moment. If I put this on a number line, here's 0 down here, here's 5 right in the middle, and I'm going to say that x is greater than 5. So that means all of my numbers that it could possibly be need to be greater than 5. So it could be 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, up to millions and millions. So if I go ahead and write this, and there's a particular way that I'm going to do this, it's called a solution set. And you got that little scribbly looking parenthesis looking thing. I know that if x is greater than 5, not equal to 5, greater than 5, it's going to include numbers such as 6, 7, 8, 9, and on and on. Let's go down to the next one. The next one says that this is greater than or equal to. It's the exact same thing as the symbol right above it, except there's half of an equal sign there. An example of what this is going to be x is greater than or equal to 5. And when I go ahead and do a graph to this, I'm going to go ahead and do the exact same ones I just did above. I know I'm going to have to include 5 is greater than or equal to 5 by drawing a circle and coloring it in. When I color in that circle, it's called a closed circle. And that closed circle says that 5 is going to be included in my inequality. Notice that the one right above there, it was an open circle, and that's because there was no equal sign there. So what are all my possible numbers now? Well, if I take a look at my graph, I'm going to be able to say that 5 is included because it is x is greater than or equal to 5, but also 6, 7, 8, and on and on and on. Going down to the green, my green looks just like this, and this is going to be less than, and my less than sign looks like this if it's x is less than 5. I'm going to go ahead and draw my solution set. And if I go ahead and draw my number line, there's 5 in the middle. Open circle because it's not equal to, but I have to include all numbers less than 5, such as 4, 3, and on and on and on. You got to remember that because those arrows are there, it continues on and on and on. So my examples would be cannot be 5 because it's less than 5, can be 4, 3, 1, -1, and on and on. Taking a look at the next one, this is going to be less than or equal to. Again, x is less than or greater or equal to 5. Go ahead and make my solution set. If I go ahead and write my graph to this, I'm going to put 5 in the middle. I'm going to close my circle because there's an equal sign right here. Close my circle. X is less than, so it's going to go to the left. And then I can fill in my numbers that it would represent. In this case, it's going to equal to 5, but also 4, 3, 2, and on and on and on. My next symbol, let me move that up a little bit, is not equal to. This would say that x does not equal 5. And I'm just going to leave it as that. Okay? Any questions about any of this, please jot them down in the margins and then we can talk about it when I get back on Monday. Alright? I want to make sure that everybody understands, so put a couple stars here, that everybody understands that this is not an inequality. Okay? That this means that it equals on both sides. Okay, if I were to graph this, if I had x, let's just say, since we've been using 5s, x equals 5, if I were to graph that, that would just mean that x equals 5. It doesn't go above and beyond, it just stays exactly where it is. So let's back up a little tiny bit and catch up to what we kind of said. I know that we have an open circle and that we have a closed circle. Okay, so we have an open circle and we have a closed circle. That open circle is used for greater than or less than, and does not include that number. It does not include that number. If I take a look at a closed circle, it can look like this: greater than or equal to, or less than or equal to, and it does include the number, where this one does not. Okay, last thing on this page, and this is the most important thing that you guys are going to have to remember, so big star for this, is that inequalities have many solutions. And equations only have one solution. Okay, and I'm going to take a second out. That is so important. I'm going to go ahead and put a yellow bubble around it, because that is a critical statement. So that way you guys remember that with inequalities, it can be so many numbers, but an equation just means that you have one number. All right, so again, if you're getting stuck with this, go ahead and pause and get yourself caught up. If you're ready to go and start the next one, go ahead and push video number 2, and then we'll continue on with your notes.